This presentation will look at whether man is naturally good or nasty. So whether or not man is naturally good or evil is one of the most controversial questions widely debated by philosophers. More importantly, the fact of what is perceived as good and perceived as bad is very subjective. When debating human nature, you look at what is innate about human life, as opposed to what individuals gain from education or social experience, and their capacity to be shaped by external factors in society. If there is such a thing as human nature, it must be reflected in human behaviour and regular behavioural patterns. Some have argued that people act in ways which are neither true human nature. Socialists believe that it's due to human conditioning that people are greedy and selfish. They believe that we are cooperative and sociable. But what does dominate human behaviour? Are humans naturally selfish or selfless? There have been various studies carried out to try and determine this. However, human nature is untestable. No procedure can find the essence of human nature. Some philosophers have rejected the view that there is even such a thing as human nature. A French existentialist philosopher called Jean-Paul Sartre believes that humans define themselves through their own actions, as they are free to determine their own development through acts of the will. Therefore, the idea of human nature offends the values of existentialism. Sartre stated in his book, Existentialism as a Humanism, man is nothing else than his plan. He exists only to the extent that he fulfills himself. He is therefore nothing else than the ensemble of his acts, nothing else in his life. Therefore, man can't be born good and can't be born evil. A different view would be the view of Thomas Hobbes. He believes that man is naturally bad. In Leviathan, chapters 13 to 14, he describes man in his natural state as solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. He talks of life being anarchic and without sovereign power such as government is an artificial construct. In this state, man is equal, in the sense that the weakest have strength enough to kill the strongest, either by secret machination or by confederacy with others, and has an equal right to things. Man is also radically free in this natural state. So for Hobbes, how would man behave in this state of nature? He believes it would not be peaceful due to the nature of mankind, largely due to three main factors: competition, diffidence, and glory. He believes that man naturally competes with each other due to equal right and ability. Therefore, man would always be acting in his best interest. As man is always acting in his best interest, the uncertainty of safety and protecting what he has is another cause of quarrel. This reflects the state of nature being a state where every man is against every man, and supports Hobbes' statement of life in the natural state being nasty, brutish, and short. Therefore, in Hobbes' state of nature, preemptive strikes are acceptable, and nothing can be said to be right or wrong. Anarchists such as William Godwin dismiss Hobbes and believe that man can live in peace. The human face and the human heart, reciprocations of kindness and love, and all the nameless sympathies of our nature. In contrast to this, Jean-Jacques Rousseau believes that man is good but not moral. For Rousseau, society or civilization has corrupted man with vanity and selfishness. People try to obtain qualities deemed acceptable by society. He believes that natural man is solitary, living alone, naturally free from dependence on others, and in this state has few wants due to the fact desire originates from our knowledge of them. All of man's wants in the natural state are readily available to him, these being food, sex, and sleep. Man also has few fears, being pain and hunger. When looking at whether man is naturally good or nasty, Rousseau mentions that in his natural state man pities. We pity in others only those evils which we ourselves have experienced. Therefore, man cannot be inherently evil. Rousseau does talk of society creating morals which is good for mankind, but brings dependence. He believes it is then that people start to worry about what others think, and amour de soi, means self-love, turns to amour propre, vanity. Rousseau believes that vanity is unnatural and enslaves us, created by private property and increased wants. To be free is to cease to want things other than our basic wants. He believes that any shift away from the natural state of man is a move in the wrong direction, as man at harmony with nature is man's optimum state. He famously stated, "Man was born free, and he is everywhere in chains." In his book, The Social Contract, man is born free, but society enslaves man and has man metaphorically in chains. There is a view that man is beyond good and evil, and this is the view of Friedrich Nietzsche. He argues that people create their own world and their own values. He famously stated that God is dead in the 1882 collection The Science of Joy, reflecting his view of God no longer being a credible source of moral principles. He maintained the view that sociologically, wealthy and powerful people class themselves as good and others as bad, whereas on the other hand, the poor and less powerful people in society class themselves as good and the wealthy as bad. This is actually seen through the current class war and through religion. For example, sinning and not following God's rules would be seen as bad or evil, or not wanting to redistribute wealth in society would also be seen as bad or evil. Nietzsche believes that the concepts of good and bad are life-denying and rejects all moral principles. To conclude from this, there is no viable evidence to suggest that man is inherently good or inherently bad. It is my opinion that mankind is born selfish and is out for himself, and there is no such thing as an altruistic act. However, it does not mean to say that this is a bad thing like Rousseau suggests. I also agree with Hobbes when he says that people naturally compete with each other, which is good in that it incentivises man to better himself, but disagree when he talks of a brutish short life. In my opinion, man is capable of reason and has the power to act rationally. Looking at good and bad as concepts, I agree with Nietzsche in that people create their own values, and realistically it's down to individual perception on what is deemed to be good and deemed to be an evil act. Man is naturally selfish, but not naturally bad, but he's also not naturally good either. I agree with Nietzsche the most, but not completely, as I still believe that we have a nature, but determine whether we are good or bad through our own actions. I also believe that God is not a credible source of morality. For me, as far as Rousseau's concerned, his past moving from Geneva, being a not very materialistic place, to Paris, has somewhat shaped his views on human nature and vanity, whereas if he was born in the modern day, I don't think he would hold the same view.